individual, group, and family travel. And thank you for everyone who has joined us for the previous episodes, even some of you for the entire month. And it's been a great journey because we started these events with the vaccinations in Europe just moving forward, and we reached the month with the vaccinations doing really well and progressing every week with the new information. I know that I have friends from the US who are going to visit Italy, visiting family, and then doing some travels. I have clients who have booked travel to Europe, Greece, Italy for August and September. So we are actually moving into the action from just the positive thought of going back to our normal lives as they were before COVID. We are also happy as Italians who are following soccer that Italy is doing well in the European Cup, and we follow that, and we see also people attending these games live in the stadium, which is another good sign for returning to travel. So anyway, these are all good signs, and hopefully that means that many of us will actually be getting back into action in the next months. But let's talk about the episode for today. When you travel, you might be going by yourself, solo, with some friends, family, forming a group. Or family can mean also multi-generational travel. Maybe the grandparents with the grandkids. So there are different aspects to consider in all these cases. And if you're traveling solo, that means some people, and this is a growing segment of the market, some people like to actually travel alone, or maybe they don't find a partner that can go at that time at to the destination. And one of the major challenges can be, okay, how is my experience going to be if I travel alone? And, you know, a lot of the countries that you go to visit, especially in the Mediterranean, they're very social people. But also, if you're traveling as a woman by yourself, you might be worried about other risks. I always suggest that joining a group, either it's a small group or a large group, it's a great way to go because you will find other people who want to have a good time on the trip. Either it's couples or little groups of friends or other solo travelers, and often it works out very well. But what is the issue? Financially, you often have to face single supplements, so extra costs for the trip that you have chosen. But there is a way around that. More and more operators are now offering waived single supplements on specific departures of a trip. Either it's a land trip or a river cruise or even ocean cruises. Sometimes they reduce the single supplements 25%, 50%, 75% instead of the full 100%, or sometimes they waive them completely. And that is on top of the discounts for that package. So it's always good to look into these situations. If you're a solo traveler, you can still enjoy the fun of traveling with a group, having everything organized, but also not have to face that extra cost all the time. When you're booking a single room, you do have to expect, though, that sometimes that room would be smaller than what a double room would be. As we talked in previous episodes, the accommodation in Europe is different than what you would expect here in the United States. We don't have the concept of standardization of franchised hotels and rooms. So often the hotels in the city are older structures that have been turned into a hotel, and all the rooms are different. And normally they use the smaller spaces as single rooms. So it is common to find a single bed and a smaller room when you book a room as a single person. And even if you're paying more because it's for the privacy. But if you do book a hotel more in the outskirts of a city that is a franchise, like a Crown Plaza or a Marriott near the airport, then you can expect that for even the single price, you're going to have the bigger room. So you just have to be prepared to face this situation. Even on cruise ships like Norwegian, they are building the new ships where they have some rooms that are a little smaller, and they practically sell those as solo traveler rooms. So, and also they adjust the price accordingly. So anyway, if you are a single solo traveler, it is always possible to do a little search and see what is offered to you and how to keep the cost down if you still want to enjoy a special package, land, river, or cruise. Another option, some operators do offer what is called a twin share. So practically you can book the trip that you are interested in at the price that you see listed, which is normally always priced as double occupancy. And then is the operator that is going to work on finding a match for your room, same-sex match. So if you're a female traveler, they'll find another female traveler who booked that trip as a twin share, and they'll pair you together. If you're a male traveler, they'll pair you with a male traveler. But what does twin share guarantee means is that if the operator is not able to match you with another same-sex traveler, then they will give you a single room and they will not charge that single supplement. So it's a good way to go if you still are open to share the room, but you might luck out and end up with your own single room without having to pay the single supplement. So that is a great choice, but not all operators offer this twin share policy. So again, with your agent or with some research, you would have to find the operator and the trips where this is offered. The most popular way of traveling still is couples or maybe two friends that go together and share a room. So that is the most popular. And in that case, it's very easy because practically all the pricing is done per person in double occupancy rooms. Either it's a hotel or a river cruise or a cruise ship. And then you can decide if you're a couple. Normally, most couples decide to have the one bigger bed together. If you are just friends traveling together, you get the split twin share beds, so the two single beds in the room. Obviously, if you are more than two friends, there are sometimes the cases where three friends are traveling together, or it could be also a family of parents with one teenager or child, or it could be a couple with an extra friend. That happens too. And so, of course, many offer triple rooms for the land packages. A triple room normally would have a double bed and a single bed, or they can also have rooms that have three single beds, or a double bed and a roll-out bed. So every hotel is a little different. Also for the cruises, normally all the cabins accommodate two people, but there again, there are different levels in the cruises where you can even accommodate four people in a room, or you can go up to the suite level and you can have even 5 or 6 or more people in that one suite. So there are many options available also if you're 3 or more people traveling. But standard, most of the availability is for 2 people in a room. There are also a lot of people who travel with kids, and there are also grandparents who take kids for a trip, their grandkids, or even teenagers, or someone who just recently graduated. And what has been interesting in the last, I would say, 10 years is that more and more operators are now offering family-tailored or multi-generation tailored trips, where practically you can still get to see the highlights of that destination, but also during the trip, they organize activities that keep the kids entertained and engaged. So quite interactive. I've done some of these trips, for example, in Venice, we would have an area where the kids can go and do a Venetian mask decoration while the parents are maybe shopping for glass or doing other things. You can have a meal in Rome, and the kids are invited to make the pizza with the pizza maker during that dinner. And so land packages, and also on cruises, you will see dedicated areas to younger kids, toddlers, or teenager sections, and lots of activity to keep them entertained. The Royal Caribbean, for example, has a lot to offer, and for all different generations. So we are seeing more of the operators adapt to this growing segment, and later I'll give you a few ideas of itineraries that actually are tailored for families or multi-generation. Just remember that if you are traveling with kids, most operators would have a minimum age limit for the kid to travel on the coach or on the cruise. And the standard across the industry is the kids have to be at least 5 years old or more. Sometimes there could be rare cases of less. In general, most of the time they require the kids to be potty trained and old enough to walk and not have to have a stroller at every stop. So that is in general the rule. Also, sometimes people ask, well, what if we have a family of 4, like parents and 2 kids, and there's only triple rooms? That is also where these family tailored trips come into play, because they would contract hotels where there is quad room availability. So practically you don't have to get 2 rooms for the family at every stop, but you can get 1 room and be all 4 together. Or on cruises, as I said, there are rooms that are cabins that are a little bigger that can accommodate 4, or you can have connecting cabins. So still have 2 cabins, but that they interconnect with the door. Those normally go fast because there's not really many on the ship. So always, if you have a family, it's good to book as far as in advance possible to get the best options. If you have kids that have recently graduated, so practically they are in the age getting to adulthood or just turned 18, or if you have younger travelers anywhere between 18 to 35, and you want to buy them a trip. This has happened often. I used to do trips for 𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐭 as a tour guide. These were trips specially tailored for clients traveling that were 18 to 35 years old. And I had a lot of times their parents had just purchased them this trip as a graduation gift. And there are companies like 𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐭 or 𝐺 Adventures has the 30-something itineraries. So if you're looking to buy a trip for someone in your family that would be a graduation gift, that's definitely a way to go. I've done this often for parents, and I normally suggest these operators. 𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐭 is one of the best known, but also 𝐺 Adventures offers some great itineraries, and they can be with people in the same age group. If you are traveling with a group of friends or with family members and altogether you total at least 8, you often can qualify for a group booking. And a group booking means that you can access some additional benefits, some additional discounts, or some bonus inclusions. So if you are 6, for example, thinking of going on a trip, with this information, you know that if you found just 2 more people, friends joining you, you could just move into a new category and make your trip more beneficial. Sometimes there could be, as I said, a discount on the land price of the trip, or there could be some additional benefits, credits added into that. So that is very important to consider. Sometimes there could be, for some companies, they would offer also a discount across the board once you reach a bigger size group. So everyone can get a discount. So if you ever are across a situation like that, I would highly recommend at that point you do contact the travel agent, because they'll be able to navigate the different policies of each operator and get you the best discounts and the benefits to maximize the value of your group. If you are a group and you are more than 8, often if you are in the 20s, you could even pick an itinerary that an operator is offering, a pre-structured, a pre-made itinerary, and turn it into an exclusive departure just for your group and with no extra cost. So if you are 24 or more, you can pick an itinerary often from tour operators and have it exclusive at no extra cost. If you're less than 24, you can still do it, and then everyone pays a little extra to have it exclusive to their group. This was even before what they call the social bubble. There are some companies actually that don't even require you to be 24 to have your own exclusive group. Some companies like 𝐲𝐶 Adventures, it's enough to reach 12 and you can have your own social bubble. So that's always an interesting option to explore if you have 12 or more. And if you have 10 or more, you might even consider having an entire itinerary tailored for the interest of your group. Maybe you have a club, an association that you are part of, and you have often in these cases, there are 30, 40, 50 people. Sometimes we even had 200 people, and they all wanted to go visit a destination, but they wanted a trip to be tailored to the particular interests of that group. Sometimes it can be a special interest like photography or gardening or following areas where a movie was filmed. So there can be an important festival. I've had some colleagues even lead tailored groups for a musical orchestra that was performing in different areas. So a tailored itinerary can be any particular interest. Obviously, you need to start from a minimum number, and the average is normally 20 or more. But that is a great advantage if you can decide every single aspect. What category hotels do you want? Which cities do you want to stop and visit if you have a particular need? So it's practically like doing your own trip, and then the operator can price it. I've created quite a few tailored itineraries. I have some people interested in doing like a trip, doing all different cooking classes in Italy. I have people who want to spend their time in Tuscany with their family and friends, even just using a base of a villa or castle, and then doing day trips with a van and a driver. So there's a endless amount of possibilities if you have a decent size group to start with, and then you can always add more along the way. I've had a group that started with 16, and in the end, it reached 34 by the time we had finished adding people. So there's a lot of possibilities. Some ideas of itineraries as we reach the final stage of this fifth episode. I was telling you an example of a family trip. This is offered by Trafalgar. They have a whole brochure that is called Family Experiences. Their trip of Italy is called Gladiators, Gondolas, and Gold. On this trip, you can expect to have half of the group that is parents or grandparents, and half of the group that is teenagers or younger kids, because it's tailored for this multi-generational or family experience. And in Rome, for example, they are taken to do a morning at the gladiator school. So the kids actually become gladiators. They learn how to fight as a gladiator. They'll do the pizza making, they'll see how gelato is made, they'll do the mask decoration in Venice. So as you can see, it's fun for the kids, but even the older travelers enjoyed those activities. It doesn't matter the age as long as you're young at heart. That's what they say on these trips. Another five-star company, 𝐻𝐽, also has created their own tailored trips for multi-generational travel and families. They call their department of these trips 𝐻𝐽 Bridges, and this would be an 8-day tour from Rome to Venice with bus transportation, Rome, Orvieto, Florence, and Pisa, and then a high-speed train to Venice. And also here they would have some fun activities tailored for the kids on board, but also that can involve the parents that are, of course, with them. If you're looking for a good idea for someone in your family that has just graduated and you want to buy a gift, 𝐭�0ⁱ, this is a typical itinerary, Simply Italy. I used to do these. I did them for 2 years in a row. And we actually have groups of, as I said, 18 to 35. You see the highlights of the country. And then there's always the option to end the evening in a pub, in a nightclub, and go out and enjoy the nightlife. And obviously, this is a great option for people in that age group. And as a parent or grandparent, you can feel also more comfortable sending the kids on a trip like this, because there's always going to be a professional watching over them, and in case of any problems, a whole company supporting if anything goes wrong. And as I said, 𝐭�0ⁱ is one, but G Adventures offers also what they call 30-something, is their department of younger trips. For those of you who like the more independent option, Globus has just recently come out with a style of travel, which they call choice touring. So practically you have the structure of a package, but in several stops that you go visit, you have the choice of picking between 3-4 different activities. So practically you can customize your day trips based on your interests. So it's not fully structured. It's just the hotels and transportations and the itinerary that are decided ahead, but then you can practically tailor many of the days to your interest, to your liking. You don't have to follow the group all together doing one activity. So that's a great option, and they came up with this trip that is focused in central Italy, Veni, Vidi, Vici, Umbria, and Tuscany by design. So if you're interested in something like that, you can look it up, or at the end, you'll have my contact information. You can always reach out to me and I can find you something that fits your needs. For those of you who are maybe more into a religious group, many of these companies have separate itineraries dedicated to religious travel. So practically, of course, they go hit the most religious sites of the country. And of course, Italy has a lot of religious sites. You can build an endless different amount of itineraries to cover all the different sites. This is by Colette, and it focuses in an area of the south, San Giovanni Rotondo, which is famous for Padre Pio, and Monte Sant'Angelo for the cave of the Archangel Gabriel. Then you have Loreto with some monasteries linked to St. Francis, also Assisi, Monte Cassino with St. Benedict. But this is just one example. And Globus, Trafalgar, Colette, and other companies have a whole section. Or you can also customize your own religious group. I know some people have their priest or their church association, and I am linked with whatever tours that can customize your entire itinerary. They have done trips of France and Spain and Portugal with Fatima, Lourdes, in Bosnia, and so on. So everything is possible. You can also create your own customized religious group or other special interests, as I mentioned earlier: photography, gardening, particular movie, everything. There's so many ideas that it's hard to keep up. I know they have a Downton Abbey itinerary for the UK. They have Outlander for the series. So there's a lot. You can even create a Twilight movie or Under the Tuscan Sun. So a lot of these movies, when they first come out, then you have all the fans that start calling, do you have a movie, an itinerary that goes to where they film the scenes of the movie? They have cruises with Game of Thrones that visit areas of Croatia and of Spain, where the different series of Game of Thrones were filmed. So a lot of ideas. In case you want to reach out for more information, you have a specific need, and you're having problem finding it yourself, or you want assistance from a professional, for the last time for these episodes, you can put down my contact information. You have my email at info@luxtralink.com, or my website, luxtralink.com, where you'll find, again, my email and my phone number. And I thank you again for sticking around for this past month. I hope you found some interesting tips for either planning your own travels independently or suggestions for packages. And as I said, I'm always available if you need assistance. And I'll pass it back to Isabella to close it up, and also to say goodbye, because I know that she is leaving for Italy, I believe, tomorrow.
Yes. Oh my God. So happy to go there again after 1 year and a half, a lot of times. So thanks so much for joining us. Please unmute yourself if you have any question about this topic or in general about travel to Italy. This is your time to ask Tony, but also I text in the chat box. It is email, so you can copy and cut his email, and also his phone number. So if you want to reach directly him, feel free to do it. So because he's the one of the best guy that you will need if you want to go to Italy. So any question? No?
While we wait for a question, I just wanted to say that I wanted to thank Destination Italy and the Italian Experiences, because It is from one of their referrals that I had a lady contact me. I don't know if she's participating at the events, but she was having trouble finding an itinerary for August for a specific week. She could not find anything online. She contacted me and I was able to find 4 or 5 different options that fit her dates. And I don't only cover Italy. This was for Greece. And I'm happy to say we just finalized her booking this morning. And so she's going to Greece the end of July on a beautiful seaborne cruise. So, you know, if you're having trouble looking for something that fits specific dates or destination, that's what we're here for. And using a travel agent for booking a package doesn't cost you any extra. The package still costs the same, and actually through the connections of your agent, either it's me or even your own agent, if you have one, you can actually earn some benefits that would not be available just booking online or direct. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, also taking advantage of the knowledge of travel agents who obviously know the products, do webinars and trainings, or often go on the trips themselves. So that's just a good suggestion. And as I said, even if you're not contacting me, contact your nearest travel agent or trusted person, because you would see the benefit of that and also the saving of money from booking.
Where would river cruises in Italy go?
So Italy does not have a navigable river. The Po River is the biggest one, but you can't sail on it for the entire length. So there is UniWorld that offers an itinerary with the river cruise ship that docks in Venice and then would sail down to the Adriatic to the delta of the Po. So to the area where the Po River opens up into the Adriatic, and would go in up to a certain area in the Emilia-Romagna region. So it would be like a week trip, but it's mostly the end of the river area and Venice. And they often offer the same itinerary with the extension of starting in Milan. So Italy itself does not have full river cruises like you would expect the Rhine or the Danube or the Moselle or the Douro Valley in Portugal or some rivers in France. But they do have this one exception, which is classified as a river cruise.
Okay. So,
and I'm actually going to try to sign up for that river cruise in October. So
thank you.
Yes, I actually have been on a UniWorld cruise on the Rhine River. It was fantastic. It's a boutique line, so all inclusive. Once you pay, you don't have to worry about drinks, gratuities, meals, excursions, unless you want to do some extra specialty excursions, you pay a little extra. So obviously there's a lot of choices when it comes down to river cruising and ocean cruising. And sometimes people get overwhelmed and they don't really understand the differences, but it basically depends on some little details of what's included and whatnot. Okay. Do we have any other questions, Isabella? In the chat?
No, I don't think so. Janet, maybe she has a question.
Yeah, I do. I have a comment to make.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Last time I talked about taking local buses in Sicily, Palermo, for example. Be careful. There are lots of pickpockets. In fact, I was heading towards that cathedral outside of Palermo.
Monreale.
In Monreale, exactly. And some guy, I was getting on the bus and some man pushed me from behind, and all the little old ladies on the local bus said, Be careful, attenzione. They get on it, they get on the bus and they walk to the back of the bus and get off with your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, in that episode, I did say that whenever you use public transportation, buses, the subway, and especially when it gets crowded, you need to pay extra attention because
Oh, I
that's
didn't
where
know.
normally most of the negative experiences can happen. And that's why also the packages tend to be also better for safety because you're traveling with a group of people that everyone keeps an eye out for each other, and even your tour guide or your local guide will give you a warning if they see something suspicious, and that helps reduce the impact or even the happening of these negative experiences.
Yeah, but also never have your purse. If you're going to carry a purse, find a jacket that has inside pockets.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's never happened to me. I almost did, but I know other women who've lost their purses.
And
They're
luckily,
fast.
luckily, if you go into a travel store or
Oh, yeah.
sometimes at the airport, you can find a lot of new gadgets that offer added security for carrying your money, your passport, and so on. So if you are going on a trip, I would suggest make a stop at a travel store and find something that you can use to protect your valuable items. But you know, as we come up, they come up with these new inventions for security. Also, the pickpocketers find new ways to still steal your stuff. So you also have to avoid putting yourself in a position of, you know, being in a dark alley alone at night, and so on. So yes, I totally agree with that. Always keep your eyes open, even if you're having a good time with
Well,
experience.
there is, or there used to be, I'm not sure, a store at Stanford Shopping Center that specializes in the travel items.
Yes, there still is.
Is it still there?
Yes, and
Okay.
even in other cities, you
Oh,
can
I'm
just
sure,
do a
but
Google
I
search
don't know where these
or
people live.
online search for a travel store, and they'll come up. Also, they have interesting ways of organizing your luggage when you're packing. So, luggage organizers, which can help you, you know, keep everything in order in your suitcase and pack it properly for your trip. So I have a lot of those little organizers for my shirts and for some of my clothes. So I highly recommend that before going on a trip.
Okay, another recommendation, don't fill all the luggage with stuff when you leave, because you have to go to Italy and buy stuff there. So you need to, you know,
Empty suitcases.
Yeah. it's a
don't
statistic.
make my same mistakes that I made last time, because I left with a full baggage, and when I came back, I had to pay $90 because my luggage was too heavy. Because obviously I went shopping in Italy.
Well, and
For this time, I'm trying to be more efficient.
I can tell you that based on statistics and experience, everyone tends to pack 50% more of what
I
they
know.
need. So you have a good look at what you packed and then take out half of it. And I
Good
also
idea.
suggest to bring a few older clothes that you might want to just leave along the way and get rid of during your
Yeah,
trip.
this is a good suggestion. This is a good
And
suggestion.
also just consider that you will end up buying maybe a t-shirt or
Yeah.
something along the way. So even if you're missing a potential clothing for a day, you might end up buying it along the way, and it's good to have that extra space and carry
Yeah.
it back without paying the extra weight.
Money, as I did. That was so fun. Okay, so if I think that there are no other questions, so maybe we can close the event. Thanks so much again for joining us in this trip, virtual trip to Italy, and we hope that we can go. I'm going in 2 days, but Maybe you will go there soon. And of course, stay in touch with us, with Italian Experience, because we will have, of course, we will share all our experience in Italy for the next 2 months. So follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, or just register to our newsletter to receive updated, to be informed about what happened in Italy during the summer. Okay. So thank you so much again. Have a good night and see you soon. Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
and
Thank you,
grazie.
Tony and Isabella.